here saying, okay, and some of you already have came to this conclusion long before today, okay? Long before today, that this was pagan. So you stopped calling it Easter, and you did like I did a couple years ago and started calling it Resurrection Sunday. You still said Easter, you still did the Easter bunnies, we still gave your kids Easter baskets, we still did Easter egg hunts, but you said, this has to do with Christ, so I'm just going to call it Resurrection Sunday. I'm not going to call it that. But what we're going to show you here is that the Most High doesn't allow us to just say, we're going to call it something different and do pagan stuff because we doing it for this reason. I'm going to show you this in a minute, but I want to give you also what the bunny and the Easter means. During those festivals of the celebration of Ishtar, which is Easter, the people had orgies. And the rabbit represents fertility. Anybody that ever had pet rabbits or know anything about rabbits, you know that they're very fertile creatures. They procreate all the time. So those rabbits have to do with fertility because people was having these orgies and all people was getting pregnant out of all these orgies that was happening every year. And later on, you'll see, we're going to talk about this later on in the weeks to come. Some of those celebrations and festivals transition into those kids that was birthed during those times being sacrificed. But that's the there. We're going to get to that later on in times to come and the weeks to come. But I wanted to point that out, what that rabbit means. So that's why you see in all these commercials, when they're talking about Easter, you always have rabbits everywhere. You never have any picture of Christ, anything to do with the church or the Bible, but you always see bunnies because it's about that festival that when they were doing orgies. The egg represents new life. When an animal has an egg, it means it's being united, rebirth of the egg, of the animal that actually had the egg. So this is what the egg is about. And remember I told you about the spring and winter solstice. When everything dies in the winter but comes back to life in the spring. This is what the egg represents. It has nothing to do with Christ. It's about the winter and the spring solstice. Now, go with me to 1 Kings 12 chapter. Let me give you this background on this so you fully understand this. And where we at on time frame, so I can make sure I speed this up, because I don't want to take too much of your time. 39. Okay, we're good. We're doing real good. Where we at? 48. Okay. I'm going to speed this up, because I promised that I wasn't going to be taking all your time, but I have to give you all of this information in totality so you can understand it. Because this is very important. This is the cornerstone of everything we believe with Christ. And we cannot have anything outside of the Most High dealing with our faith when it comes to the resurrection of our Lord and Savior, Christ. Now, I'm giving you this part for all of you say that, okay, I know Easter is pagan, but I still can do Easter. I can still do Good Friday celebrations. I can still do Easter egg. I can still give my kids Easter egg hunts, and I can still believe in and go to say that he rose on Sunday, and I can celebrate it then, and it doesn't matter. These scriptures are for you who believe that. I believed that once before, okay? Until the Most High opened my eyes to see that we can't substitute anything for what he says we're supposed to do. Now, let me set this up. 1 Kings 11 chapter. If you go back and read that in your own time, you'll see it talks about the fall of Solomon. Solomon began to go off and serve strange gods and marry women that was outside of Israel and build temples to pagan gods, to fallen gods, and all these things. And the Most High just basically said, you know what? I'm about to tear the kingdom for you, and I'm going to leave Judah with you for David's sake, because the Most High had already promised David that the Savior would come through his loin. And we know they call Christ the son of David, the seed of David. So he said, I'm going to take all the other tribes away from you, but I'm going to leave Judah only with Solomon. And he told Jeroboam, which was a servant of Solomon, that he was going to make him king. You will see that in First Kings 11 chapter. So in your own time, make sure you go check that out. Now, when you go over to 1 Kings, the 12th chapter, the Bible tells you that at the end of 1 Kings 11, we see that the Solomon dies. And what happened was, when Jeroboam began to say that, okay, I'm about to be king over all the tribes, Solomon tried to take him out. He tried to kill him. So Jeroboam had to run into Egypt and to hide there until Solomon died. Okay? So you see that at the end of 1 Kings, the 11th chapter. When you get to 1 Kings, the 12th chapter, after Solomon has died, Jeroboam comes out of hiding out of Egypt and goes into meets with, and the elders go and meet with Solomon's son. Let me get that proper name for you here. Well, he goes to meet with Solomon's son. I'll give you that in a second. Okay? And basically the elders and Jeroboam stated to him, said, listen, if you will not treat us in the way that Solomon did, if you will follow the statutes and laws and the commandments of the Most High, if you don't tax us and abuse us, then you know what, we won't go separate. We won't separate. We'll join with you. And in 1 Kings, the 12th chapter, you'll see here that around verse 5 and 6 and 7, Rehoboam, which was Solomon's son, Rehoboam, he said, you know what? He started talking to some of his young boys, young friends, his young counselors, and they said, look, man, you do what you want to do. You the king. And so he told them, he said, listen, man, I ain't doing anything. I'm going to do what I want to. So therefore, Jeroboam and the elders and the other tribes made a decision to go separate. This is when the nation of Israel split, where you had the 10 tribes, Simeon, Reuben, Ephraim, Manasseh, Zebulun, Asher, Gad. And I think I've named them all. Those were the 10 tribes that was of Israel. But Benjamin and Judah and parts of Levi remained loyal to Judah. To the Rehoboam, that was Solomon's son. Okay, I know I'm giving you a lot of information. That's why I'm asking you to write these things down so you can be able to make sure you go back over it. All right. Okay. When you see here in 1 Kings, the 12th chapter, verse 20, it tells you that they made Jeroboam king all over Israel. Except, like I said, the tribe that remained loyal to Judah. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi became the country of Judea, and the other 10 tribes were the nation of Israel. Now, for all those, like I said, today's lesson is, it is time to choose a side. For all you to say that you can continue to serve these things, close that door right quick. For all of you to say that you can continue to serve God and do these things, even though you know that it's not, we're going to show you here in 1 Kings, the 12th chapter, how important, how vital it is for you to remain faithful to what the Most High and move away from what the world says. And so you're going to see here how it went for Israel when they tried to do their own thing outside of what Most High says. All right, so 1 Kings, the 12th chapter, and we're going to start here at verse 26.
And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of his people turn again unto the Lord, even unto Rehoboam king of Judah. And they shall kill me and go again to Rehoboam the king of Judah.
Okay, stop. Now, what I need you to understand is that the worst lies to overcome are not the lies that people tell us. The worst lies to overcome are the lies that we tell ourselves. Those are the worst lies to overcome. We can deal with somebody else lying to us, but when we lie to ourselves, it's really hard to overcome the lies that we tell ourselves. Now, Jeroboam said in his own heart, listen, when the people are keeping the feasts, they got to go to Jerusalem. And we're going to go over these feasts in a little bit. But he says that if they keep going down to Jerusalem and doing the feasts in the way the Most High told them to do, eventually they're gonna go back to being with all the brethren, and because you're gonna see here up in this chapter, if you read all the first Kings 12, that the people of Judah, the brethren of Judah said, in Judea said, they sent a letter to him and said, listen, I know we ain't, on one accord, but we all brothers. We all from the same father Jacob. We all the same people. And we may not be apart as far as countries right now, but we all the same brethren. Come down to Jerusalem, keep the feast with us. Continue to serve with us and do the things that the Most High told us to do. So the people began to go to Jerusalem and keep doing the feast. Keep doing all the things that the Most High told them in the law. And Jeroboam said, you know what, if these people keep doing this, keep going down there with the brethren and going down there fellowshipping with all the people, they're not going to want me to be king over them. They're going to go back to the king of Judah, and then they're going to end up killing me. So look what he said in verse 28.
Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
Wow. Now, I have to give you the precept that goes with that so you can understand fully what this is talking about. Remember that I told you that Jeroboam, when he was in 1 Kings 11 chapter, when he was running from Solomon, went down into Egypt to wait until Solomon died so he could come back and resume the thing in which God had told him to do. Right? So he went down there in Egypt. And when he went down there in Egypt, guess what he started doing? He started involving himself in the things that had nothing to do with the Most High. Right? So he came up with an idea and said, you know what? We don't got to do that, man. Listen. When we don't got to worry about even being involved in that. I'm gonna build these 2 calves, and then we can serve God from here. And we because these were the ones that brought us up out of Egypt in the first place, right? Where you hear that story right there from? Well, when Moses went on the mountain to receive the 10 Commandments, you'll see that he was up there, and the Most High told him that, yo, the people are down there making a calf. Aaron's down there making a calf and saying that this is the God that brought him out. The Most High was going to kill every one of them and start a new line with Moses. But Moses prayed and kept him out of it. Those 2 calves, those are the same calves that Jeroboam tried to introduce to Israel again. Those 2 calves, guess what they're called? Yahweh. Yahweh. And that name has slipped into the faith of Christianity where we say that it is the name of God, when it's really not. It's really not. So, go back. He said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do these 2 calves, and told the people, ain't that who brought you out of Israel? What happened to the people who did that? What did the Most High do to them? Consume them with plagues. Do you want to be consumed with plagues? Verse 29.
And he set the one in Bethel, and the other he put up in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places, and he made priests of the lowest of people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
Not of the sons of Levi. So because the Levites, they were keeping the commandments of the Most High said. So he said, you know what? Since y'all don't want to do that, I'm going to make somebody else priest. How can I make somebody else a priest when the Most High said Levites are the priests? Since the Levites don't want to do what Jeroboam said, this is how they end up going down to Judah and being with Benjamin and the tribe of Judah and Judea. Because Jeroboam and Israel was tripping. And they were doing all these things, worshiping and doing the feast of these things instead of doing the feast that the Most High said. Keep going.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah. And he offered upon the altar, so did he in Bethel, sacrifice unto the calves that he made. And he placed in Bethel the priest of the high places which he had made. So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel, and he offered upon the altar a burnt incense.
You hear that? Are you reading along in your Bible with me? So this man said, you know what? Instead of doing what the Most High said, I'm going to come up with my own day and serve him in my own way. And do what he's saying do, what I come up to do, versus what the Most High said to do. Because this is what I want to do. And this is basically the church saying, no, I'm going to do it at Easter time. I'm not going to do it what the Most High said because this is what everybody else is doing. This is what the world is doing. This is what's fun for the kids. So we're going to do this versus what the Most High said. Go with me to Amos, the 5th chapter.